Paul Lafrance's Stream of Consciousness series. The topic of this video will be learning to be softer, pulled from the diminishing bowl. And if you are curious as to what we're doing, go back to the intro video, which will explain everything. I am well over 3 hours now, and a few topics left on the series, and learning to be softer is the topic for this video. So, in a previous video, I talked about my daughter's counselor, Rob, the crazy man. And I think I'll just quickly sum up this kind of overarching message from last year. It was, this year's message kind of in our family has been, it's not so serious, which was a previous video. But this was last year's topic, learning to be softer. And this, for me, as this kind of very intense personality type of campaigner personality, if you've ever done Myers-Briggs, I'm a campaigner. So, and when I say things historically, I don't say them softly. Soft is not necessarily a word that would apply to me. It's empathetically soft-hearted, but not in the way I speak. And I will never forget the day that Promise, my eldest daughter, invited me to come and sit down with her and her counselor. She had gone through a bit of a rough go. And I was, a little teary because, it meant a lot to me that my daughter wanted me to be there. And when I walked in and sat down, I already knew a lot. I had heard a lot about Rob, but I didn't think he was going to piss me off. And I love that he did. So this guy is just, he looks like a cross between Christopher Walken and Michael Keaton, who hasn't slept in about 12 days. So, throw in a little Doc Brown from Back to the Future, and you got Rob. And Rob sits and says to me, we, kind of met, and Promise is sitting there, and he says, Paul, I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind that's really important to you with regards to your relationship with Promise. And I was like, no problem. So I lean forward. I'm like, Promise, I think it's incredibly important that you understand just how much my life revolves around you, needing to know that you can talk to me about it. And he goes, stop. And I was like, did you just stop me in the middle of talking to my daughter? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I want you to try something. I was like, okay. He goes, I want you to sit a little more like me, relax. This guy's sitting. He's like this. And I was like, okay, Rob. And I remember I remember Promise telling me all the time, she's like, fuck you, Rob, to him. And I was like, oh, this is what you mean by when you say that to him. And then he just laughs. But I did it. I sat back, for the sake of the focus. I won't go all the way back, but I relaxed my body. He goes, now I want you to say what you just said to your daughter, what you were going to say to her, but I want you to say it softer. And I was like, okay. And I said, Promise, we've had 1,000 conversations, but if there's one thing that means more to me than anything else, is just maintaining what we've kind of already established in our relationship, because it would be the great failure. It would be my great failure as a dad if we ever left this realm where you could talk to me about anything. That would mean I've failed. And I realized halfway through saying it that there was this intensity of potency that was, I was watching, how do I explain it? It was almost as though Promise is like heart opened up and the soil of her heart was black, fertile soil. And it was just because it was coming in this softer word. And I've been practicing this since. I will hear myself speaking with someone and talking, and Janet will recognize it now, and people close to me will recognize it, like, oh, you stopped yourself there. And I'll be going and going and talking, and then I'll be like, but I really think it means this, that, or the other. I really think we should consider this. And I'll slow my voice down and slow my words down. And when I do this with the girls now, who are at various stages of still hormonal upheaval, they'll admit this, it has a tremendous effect, because one of the things that it does, which ties into the other thing that Rob told me in a previous video, is it removes the tension. Even when I'm asking the girls to do something, I would go in with my eyebrows raised. I'm like, okay, sweetie, like I really need the dog to get walked. I need you to walk the dog. And I hear Rob in my head saying, say it softer. I'm like, hey, sweetie, do you think it really mean a lot to me if you could walk the dog today? Do you think you could do that for me? I'm telling you, the response factor with the softer voice to the, even if I'm not even realizing it, recognizing that tension is coming through and that affects communication has been pretty powerful. I'm still learning it. So I'm curious if anyone understands what I'm talking about. I'll be curious as to people's responses. All right. I think we are down to the final topic. Losing a child. Interesting that this one ended up last. Next video is a tender one.